this video, we are going to go over a classic word problem that deals with a multi-step equation. Let's dive right into this one. This says the sum of three consecutive integers is 45. Find these integers. So these are the scary kind of word problems where you're not given much information and you have to run with it. So let's run with this one. So the first thing we need to understand is what consecutive means. Consecutive means one right after the other. So consecutive integers would be like -1, -2, -3, or going in the positive direction, we could go 3, 4, 5, so they're one right after the other. So understanding that means that if we're finding the sum, we're adding up three consecutive numbers. So how do we make sense of this? Well, we start out, and this is with a little bit of know-how, we start out with the least integer. If we have three numbers that go in a row, one of those three numbers will be the least, and we're going to let that number be x. So I'll let x equal the least number. So x equals the least integer, and I'll just put least int. Well, if x is the least integer and we're going consecutively, then we would have to add 1 to that number to get to the very next consecutive number, right? So if you're at 10, the next number would be 11 because 10 plus 1 is 11. So if we're at x, the next number would be x plus 1. So that would be your middle number. And then if you're at x plus 1, then you'd have to add another 1 on top of this to get to the third number. So that would be x plus 2. Or you could look at this as, if you're at the number 10, and that's your least number, 11 and 12, you'd have to add 2 to the first number to get 2 numbers down the line to your consecutive number and then the one after that. So we've got x, x plus 1, and x plus 2. So now if we want the sum of three consecutive integers is 45, we look at this and we say, all right, let me find the sum of this, this, and this, and it is 45. So it actually becomes a direct translation. So the sum would be x plus, and then I'll add the very next number, x plus 1, and then I'll add the final number plus x plus 2. So that's the sum, the addition of all those things, and that all is equal to 45. It's a beautiful translation. There you have it. That's your translation. That's it. So all we have left to do now is solve. So then once we get the translation down, we completely ignore where we've been and we focus on the algebra. So now we've got a lot of like terms here. We've got x plus another x. So there are three x's, or you could rearrange it mentally like this, x plus x, and you still have plus 1 plus 2, using a little bit of commutative property of addition. So I don't usually show this step, but that's what I'm doing mentally. X plus x is 2x plus another x is 3x. 1 plus 2 is 3. Now we're left with a very nice two-step equation. So we're going to undo the addition first by subtracting 3, of course, to both sides. Recognizing that we've undone plus 3, we focus on 45 minus 3. So 3x is equal to 42. I'm going to take this and we'll work up to this side over here. So 3x is equal to 42. So now, I'll just copy that over here. I'm going to undo everything that's being multiplied by dividing by 3 on both sides. And 3 divides itself out, leaving us with the smallest number, x, is equal to 42 divided by 3 is 14. So 14 is not our only answer, it's part of the way. So 14 is x. So if our x value is 14, let's think about this. So this is now 14. X plus 1 would be 14 plus 1, or the next number higher, which would be 15. X plus 2 would be 2 more than that least number, which would be 16. And sure enough, if we add up 14 and 15, we get 29, and 16 is 45. Three consecutive integers that sum to 45. A very cool word problem, very classic, and though it's not very applicable directly to the real world, like no one's going to walk up to you on the street and say, hey, find the sum of three consecutive integers is 45, what are those three integers? It's the idea that you're taking a problem and translating what is barely any information into a pretty big equation. So you're using not just your, not imagination, but you're basically making a system of thoughts, putting them together, and then once you have that plan, solving it out. That's life, right? You get a nice plan going on what seems to be a simple idea that blossoms into something bigger, and then it condenses down as you work through it into a nice, easy solution. Beautiful thing, peeps.